Hi, I'm here to talk about epilepsy and my near-death experience during status epilepticus, which is a seizure. I believe is classified as a seizure lasting more than 5 minutes, but what I had was a seizure that lasted 25 minutes, where during the seizure and after that, I was put on life support, but that whole experience, I swear I had a near-death experience, so I wanted to talk about that, about epilepsy and near-death experience, pretty much near-death experience. So, here we go. So I've had epilepsy since, in my 20s, I had complex partial seizures. Then in my 30s, I had developed grand mal seizures, which are also called tonic-clonic seizures. It's the kind where you're rigid and stiff and shake, the big kind. And I had way too many to count. I kept having them at work. It was really embarrassing. I would wake up and people would be all surrounding me. Paramedics would be there, and I didn't know. I didn't even remember the seizure. I felt like I was fine. I didn't really feel like I was fine, but I just didn't feel like anything had happened. Because I had no memory of it. So this is this one time. I was staying with my mother and brother for the weekend, or for a week or so. I used to go visit them when I didn't live with them. And I was in my mother's bed. She was laying next to me. And I fell asleep, and I had a seizure in my sleep. And apparently it was like the weirdest seizure I've ever had. I was like screaming things and going in and out of it, and doing the motions, and the EMTs came and they thought I was on PCP, but I wasn't. It was like, at that time I didn't know what was going on, but when I was out of it, I felt like something else was going on. And yeah, it was nuts. Like, okay, I know that I was med-flighted to Fairfax Hospital and put on a respirator, and but the whole time, like, this is the experience that I had. I feel like on the way there, I kind of remember being in the helicopter, but it wasn't a helicopter. It was just kind of a big ship, I guess, that held all kinds of patients. I guess I knew I was a patient, but I couldn't talk. I tried to talk and they couldn't understand what I was saying. But I had to play a game. We were all sitting around in a circle and we all had to hold hands. We were all having seizures. And we were shaking, but we had to hold hands, and the last one to let go, my mother would win a settlement check, would win money. And so I tried so hard to win because I wanted my mother to win money, but I lost, and I was devastated. And I woke up on the respirator, but there was a lot more that went on. But the point of that one was, like, I think what that meant was if I would have won that contest that was all made up in my mind, then my mother would have won a settlement, which means, like, she would have sued the hospital because I would have died. So it was a good thing that I lost. It was meant to be that I lost. And I know it was just like a induced brain malfunction type of thing, but still, it feels like it was near death. Like, I was fighting for my life, and if I would have won, I would have died. Even though I was trying to win, I lost and I lived. And when I woke up on the respirator, I woke up, I knew I was awake, I knew I was on a respirator, and I could not move or speak. I was trying to signal them like, I'm awake, get me off this thing, get this thing out of my mouth. And I couldn't move or talk, so it was like I couldn't get them to know I was awake. But finally they figured it out and took me out of the ventilator. And turns out they found that I had a heart condition. During the seizure, my heart went cuckoo, and they diagnosed me with a heart condition called long QT syndrome. And that's a rare a rare disorder where it's usually genetic, but it can also be acquired by medication, which that's what I think mine came from, all the medication I've been on. So, but with that, you can drop dead suddenly. You get these arrhythmias. It's just a really dangerous condition. Like, exercise can induce it. Being startled. There's all kinds of things. I'm trying to get myself centered here. That there's all different types and all different symptoms. Seizures is one of the symptoms, but see, I had the complex partial seizures in my 20s, and I've had them captured on EEGs, and I have had major head injuries which caused my seizures. So I'm pretty much asymptomatic of the long QT syndrome, except for the fact that my heart goes haywire sometimes. So they gave me an operation and put in a ICD, which is a pacemaker and defibrillator in one. And so after my surgery, like after a couple weeks, I decided to, start getting back in shape, start moving. I got on my treadmill, and after a while on my treadmill, I was shocked 6 times while being wide awake. And imagine how that feels, being shocked. It felt like I was being struck by lightning. It was like, holy shit, it hurt so bad. But only for a second, but it was 6 times in a row. And I tried to use my phone to call 911. I was home all alone, and my phone was a piece of shit, and sometimes it wouldn't dial out. And of course it didn't dial out for 911. So luckily I got my friend Kara on Facebook, and I messaged her. I went on my computer, messaged her, asked her to call 911 for me. She lives in Massachusetts, I live in Virginia. I had to give her my address, and they gave her so much shit on 911, like, where does she live? Fairfax County, and I don't know, Fairfax County sucks. But she finally got the ambulance there, and they came and took me to Fairfax Hospital, and I got my thing adjusted, so like, I don't know what the hell they did to it, but they said that it was a good thing they put it in, because I would have died otherwise. So thank you for the ICD, and thank you for that seizure that made them catch my heart condition, which is really hard to catch. This is the kind of heart condition that you see young, like, football players, young athletes in high school that just drop dead. It's because they have an underlying heart condition that it just happens, and that could have happened to me. And I played sports all my life, and I'm lucky that it didn't happen to me. So, and I'm glad I got the ICD just in time. Alright, so that's my story about status epilepticus that I was kind of half aware, but not really, but got some brain damage from, obviously, I'm sure you can tell. But it's okay, I love it. It's fun to be funny. Alright, love you guys, bye.